Michelle, congrats on the win. You went to the Challenger Series earlier this year, and over the recent years, the Challenger Series has proven to bring out the best in all fighters. What can you say about the Challenger Series as it progresses your progression in the sport?
Yeah, good question. So I was able to do the Challenger Series as my professional debut. So that was the start of last year at 155. So I knew originally, talking to the Greg and Ray, like it wasn't me going into the season from that, but what a great opportunities to develop, on such a massive platform. So, and then PFL really takes care of their fighters. So for me, having my pro debut there, getting a couple other pro fights throughout the year, they let me do one with Icon as well. And then to come back and do it this year at 145 too, for me that was the perfect pathway. And whether I'm in the season this year or whether I was fighting like I am now, like it's all positive for me,
And so, say for next season, the Challenger Series, if you can look back on it, now we see people in the finals this season. So potentially next season, say you make it to any part of the finals or just playoffs in general, do you think that that series will help, I guess, in the long-term PFL growth of MMA?
Absolutely, because people aren't looking at, well, if I'm not in the season, I don't want to be in it at all. They're looking at, oh, well, look at, Tom, Dick, and Harry over there that are in the finals, and they started with the Challenger Series, so why would I not do that? So I think it really makes a lot of people put their eyes in the spotlight on that Challenger Series, knowing full well that if they are that good and they have the mind and body for it, that they can go through to the finals like these other fighters have.
Final question for me, working with Kayla Harrison, what is it about Kayla, I guess, knowing that she's a former champion and that she can teach you, in a sense, early on in your career, what is it about her that just excites you to advance your career with her?
I think initially, I had never met another female my size that outstrengthed me, outpositioned me, and outgrappled me consistently, right? These people that are better wrestlers, better jiu-jitsu practitioners, but it was consistently. So for me, every time I was on the mat with her, I was learning, I was getting my ass handed to me, and it was all positive, it was done nicely, but I was just it's such an eye-opener coming over here to her gym and and having that. So for me, I think knowing she's a great role model for younger girls, and she's a fantastic teammate and captain for the gym there. So I think holistically, she really ticks all those boxes for up-and-coming females like myself, and having someone that will always put you in your place as well is just a huge benefit for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Pick one.
Congratulations. So you was on the Challenger Series or anything like that, but no one looks at your records. Your past 4 fights had a rear naked choke. So was that the go-to for the night we have you?
It actually isn't. I just want to get the finish. You know what I mean? And I think I end up there because when you favor wrestling so much, that you're used to being on the back of people and flattening them out, or getting them turned on their back and you're on top. So it's just, I feel like it is just the easiest submission to get. Once it's on, and there's really not much I can do about it. That's where you see a lot of finishes with that in pro MMA. But I think I just end up there because I'm scrappy and I like getting on the back, and I hunt for a takedown from there and pushing, pulling their body and whatnot. So it's landed with me a few times, but yeah, certainly not hunting for it, but if a position ends up where I might get it there, I'm gonna hold on for dear life and try and take it.
And of course, PFL's expanding globally and all that stuff. How would it feel to have a hosting event in your own country?
Oh my goodness, that would be insane if they were to host, PFL Oceania or something like that, or did a Challenger circuit in NZ or Australia. That would be insane, and to have the family watch. I don't even know if they were able to get it online tonight, but to have them there either in person or watching it online would be an unreal experience for me,
Thank you. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Okay, Michelle, so super win for you. What's the celebration going to be like?
My mouth's a little bit parched, and I feel like something that rhymes with starts with B, will help that. So I think just quench a bit of the thirst, rewatch the fight with the team, and I think just take on that first round there with a grain of salt and actually look at it properly, because that was just hectic. So I think that's what we're going to be doing, is doing that there, and then I just can't wait to have a cold on with the PFL team, and for everything they've done this year, and they've got one more event to go, so just to crack on with them and just have a real positive evening.
Now, you talked about Kayla before. Who's tougher for you to deal with, Kayla or Dakota?
Or Dakota? Well, thank frick, Dakota's 2 weight groups below me. Man, she's strong. And you know, Kayla's striking is just improving, you know, month to month as well. So like she lands some stuff on me and the boys that we don't not expect coming. So they're both as hard as each other in some ways. Dakota pushes a faster pace, but at least I know like, okay, I have size, I can like smush her a little bit on the ground. But Dakota's a little bit more with the setups and the tricky striking. Kayla now adding some of these more dynamic striking techniques to her grappling game. That makes it a lot harder for me because again, she's as big as me, you know what I mean? So that one sucks more.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle,
Yeah.
so I wanted to ask, it seems like the strategy was to take her down, particularly in the first round, but then she was difficult to take down. Was that part of the strategy in this fight?
I mean, I was gonna take it where it went, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I was surprised if it looked like my strategy was to take it down in the first round because it really didn't feel like that's what I was doing. That's just through my own fault there. So I think, yeah, that's a good strategy to have if you've got some good grappling over your opponent. So of course you wanted it to head that way, but not without having a bit of like a, you know, set it up safely, have some scraps first or whatever. But I got a little bit sucked into that. Probably for a little bit too long, and I feel like that took a bit of my energy away, and it was a little bit like had to kind of reset that between the rounds. Yeah.
And also in your post-fight interview, you said that your arms are getting tired when you try, and you said that you did that variation of the rear naked grip.
Yeah.
Was that when you took her back? Was there any worry that you may not be able to even lock this finish on? She may throw you off. She may be able to escape easily.
The thought crossed my mind about her scooting out the back when I had that first hook, and I paused for a second thinking she might. Then as soon as I drove my hips down, she did flatten out, so that was all good. But then, yeah, a part did cross my mind about having my arms gassed out, not being able to finish that choke. But then as soon as I squeezed my hips down, it put the pressure on the neck without me having to squeeze anymore. That's why I just wanted to get that one little bit of my fingertips just pulling it up. Like I felt like I was so close that I just needed that one little minute bit of pressure on it, and I'd get it because I could feel the old dangly ball on my arm there.
And last question, non-MMA question. What's your favorite Peter Jackson movie?
Well, I done it Lord of the Rings, so now I'm stuffed. Can I just say Quentin Tarantino instead?
That's fine, yeah.
Sold.
Question.
Yeah.
Big win for you, but after you finished, you got the finish. It felt like you were taking all of the moment in. In that moment, in that time, what was crossing through your head after the victory?
Thank if. I was just like, you did it. Because I mean, there was a moment in the first round there where I thought, like, man, you're making this really hard on yourself and you're not doing your best job at what you do. And I actually thought about that at one point. We were on the clinch on the cage. I thought, man, I'm just not doing what I should be doing and what I've practiced, you know. So I had to like kind of reality check myself at one point in that first round there. So when I finally had it down, got the position, didn't rush it, got the submission, like it was like, oh, it was just a moment of like, thank God, like I like put it back together, you know what I mean? Thank you.
Michelle, question. This is Andy Rodriguez from Ecuador.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how this represents in your career, in your path, this victory? Congratulations for your victory. What this represents for us?
This is my first fight after being at ATT now for a couple of years, you know, and having my homegrown coach Carlo come over to each one since then and meshing the teams together. So that was pretty awesome for me to have him and Pahumpa in the corner there as, you know, as my grappling coaches and stuff. So for me, I guess it's like a signifies like, okay, I've been growing since I've been training full time and I haven't been, you know, working and training at the same time for the first time in a while. You know, my body's changing as I train more full time and my mental state's changing as I'm challenged more on the daily by these, you know, top tier fighters around me at the gym. So I think this was like a maturity fight, you know. There's some parts in there that were the old Michelle that we need to kind of nip in the bud, and there were some parts in there that were composed and looking forward to a more professional version of myself.
So I saw your mentally and physical everything in the ring, and I was impressed of the job like you did there. So I just want to ask you, what would you say to everyone who is watching you, your fans? What is the message that you will let them know that the new Michelle is coming up?
That no matter who you are, I will take constructive criticism with an open heart and open mind. So if you got something, fling it my way. You can never have too many helpful hints. You all saw it from a different angle than me. So yeah, I guess just like, you know, I spend a few of those minutes getting humbled, and having to recollect myself. So I think just the message for everybody else is just, you know, it's okay to get hit, to give hits, you know, and I mean figuratively as well.
Michelle, congratulations on a fantastic performance.
Thank you.
I think it's probably fair to say this is the most adversity you've faced in a fight in your pro career so far. At one point,
It's close.
at one point you were a 3-1 underdog with a live betting line. So I just want to know, was there any point in your mind where it felt like the fight was kind of slipping through your hands a little bit?
I don't pay any attention to betting stuff. There's probably a reason why, because it probably make my ego go like, oh, stink. But it doesn't really bother me because I'm not a bettor. So, but at one point in the first round, I remember thinking like, oh, yeah, it sucks when you're not pushing forward and you're not doing what you're meant to do. You know what I mean? Like my coaches had told me before we went out, hey, fight your game. This, like fight your game, your pace. Last thing I heard when I was in the cage with coach was, you know, fight your game. I think Wimble was telling me that. So to go through part of that first round, taking steps back, I know, taking steps back, reacting to her instead of being proactive, you know, not being first and third. I was just being somewhere in the middle and copping a couple extra for no good reason. So certainly a point in the round when she turned me on the cage after all that, I had a little moment to myself of like, nah, you really got to like sharpen this up, Mishy, because you're on the track to lose 3 rounds here if it keeps going like this, and you can't keep getting cracked like this. So yeah, that's kind of how I felt during that.
Gotcha. Was there any part of you that just felt a little taken out of your game, or maybe just off a little bit with not having Kayla Harrison in your corner?
Well, no, because I mean Kayla obviously it's very having that there, but you know, Carlo's been at every one of my fights for the last 9 years, so I had a piece of home there, whether it was him or Caleb or him from ATT. Like I had one person that's been around me for at least 2 years and seen me do good and bad and go through adversity on the mat and knows what my strengths are. They're not going to tell me to, you know, throw spinning back, fucking whatever. So they understand what I'm trying to do. So long as I have one piece of that puzzle, like I can connect my heart and mind to that person and I feel happy. So to have at least these guys here, like, and Jess, who I've done some training with in the past as well, like it really helped that. And like I said to Kayla, her kid started school this week, so she's got her hands full with all this, you know, as you can imagine. So she's in full mum mode, and I said to her, look, the biggest benefit from you is our training that we do leading up to this fight. I don't want you up there stressing that your kids are at home at school without you know stressing out. So if the amount of training that we got in together preparing for this and having a good game plan set was that was the huge value of it.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
You're welcome.
Congrats on a big win tonight. 4-0 as a pro, 4 rear naked chokes. Tonight you got to display a little bit of your striking. I wanted to see if you can give us a little bit of an assessment about your striking and how you felt as you were striking so much tonight.
I feel like how I felt, I feel like I should watch it before I say how I felt, because it probably felt some kind of which way that I don't know about. No, I had a couple that made my eyes go one way and my head go the other way, so probably don't want to be doing that too much. I feel like, yeah, my defense is improving. I'm using my kicks more when my arms need a bit of a break and I need that space there. I think each camp that I go through, I'm piecing it together more, and the more I work with girls like Shatara and Kayla and Dakota and stuff, these girls that have such a diverse game and they're so similar to my size, like that only adds value to me, right? Like, but it's having those girls that can put you in that oh shit mode of striking that really makes your striking improve, because there's just nothing that can replicate a fight until you've got a couple of training partners that can do that to you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Congrats.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, thanks. I did a lot of talking.
Well done.